Scheme, the object of my desire. In the tables till we in like some kings. You beautiful head dresses, the culture is so impressive. I'm just hoping I absorb it when he passing me the message. Cause baby, it's depressing living in this mess all alone. We should take it back to chokers resting on the collarbone. Arrowheads right along the enemy like styrofoam, piercing through the strongest armor, death and genocide of foam. And still I stand, a singular red man with Jupiter's size heart, forever repping my clan. The Eagles and no man, watching over my plans. Talking real shit, baby, no faking here for the fans. I'm shouting out Bobby Jones, my auntie, my Muslim George. I'm drawing all of my strength from my people here before me, man. Big chief in the building, everybody take your place. Remove your feelings if you wanna ride with me. You about to go to war right now, no petty ass beef. When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? Blessed is the man with sons who walk beside him. There's not enough leaders up there, we should be riding. They left our people broken, but homie, don't play the possum. Learn to grow yourself to set, cause you can bet there's nothing promised. They saying I'm a problem, they call me public enemy, but they don't understand that I hold it down for my family and I hate it when they say that I won't be cause I'm native, cause in my mind we the strongest, we were built up for the ages. Hey, give me back mine for take that, you don't want that, where my praise at, put in my pot with a braid of the sweet grass, put a prayer up, if you ain't gonna ride, get back with your weak ass. No room for the weak, of the type of speech that brings us down. Need them soldiers to be strong when the bad man comes to town. Right out. Big chief in the building, everybody take your place. Remove your feelings if you wanna ride with me. You about to go to war right now, no petty ass beef. When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me? When it all go down, who's gonna ride with me?
You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we kept who we got to come up again. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, the robber link a chick tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. Blood of the Israelites, cry from the Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for the Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for the Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Want to be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms, never getting treatment. Something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, and it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream alike. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, putting work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love they reflection, no matter what the complexion. We got a common connection, a part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every fight. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price. So who ready to give their life, the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of the Israelites, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we're Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
West till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. They ain't scaring me. Rip the soul out of Pharisee. Speaking heresy and get you fucked up apparently. It's like they daring me. I said chill, they ain't hearing me, they ain't listening. Every bar nitroglycerin hit your heart, bring it back to start, make you live again. Get them dividends, so we start getting ignorant. I be on that soldier shit, I told you shit phenomenal. Nah, but he a domino, so what you suckers trying to do? Rhyming comical, guess it's funny until I'm bombing you. Bring apocalypse to them pussy niggas that's popping shit. Team of all stars, I coach them up like I'm Popovich. Fuck the politics and the lobbyists and apologists. They vagina, so we gon' check them like gynecologists. It's kinda obvious how the situation is ominous. The way I vomit this and regurgitate for the audience. They start applauding this because the competition is from the air with the smoke woman. Cause I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. They want a nigga quiet, mute my maneuvers, but I ride like I got group vibes for Uber. Rhymes hard like they've been viewed by Medusa. 9 milli Luger, 17 in the Ruger. Only need a few to sit up in your medulla. Obligata for the regatta niggas wildin', they win every dollar. They riding by black Apollos, let the semi holler. A showstopper been as proper since a teeny bopper. But now I'm going on my Patron and premium of vodka. I put extensions on the Glock, modified the chopper. The swore heavy, war ready, and that's working mama. No marijuana, say I got the loudest silence on it. When I'm up on it, ain't no rapper do it like I do it. A lot of spitties and writers, but when they eat song, none of them can get to the fire around with me. And I had them niggas spit like a tire, Dan the D, and I'm still dope as a piper. Every bar burn hard like a spoon with a lighter. Fuel to igniter, I'm winning, coming through with the title because UP. to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me. I be one west to the death till they bury me. One west till they bury me. I'm west to the death till they bury me. I'm one west till they bury me.
According to God, the white man.
See, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this white ass. Need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that bygone. Boy, ask you to stop and ask you to prop. It's about to get serious. When they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up on parole because of the COVID. It feel like the hoes in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settle. Yeah, see the props. I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the props. You know, like we all come together. Cause you know what I'm saying? They say God so loved the world. God so loved the world and know boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the props. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to one with step. I'm solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent. I got it. Let's go. Let's go. I ain't taking no loss. Ain't no talking when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just pay with your own. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell them we can't keep it slate. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high or high. Your baby pants through the fire. Ask you the prophets. That baby soul belong to the Lord. How dare you abort it? Devil will fail you, bitch. I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Push your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga.
I'm telling you, man. They really ain't gonna believe that I got a baby in my arms while I'm doing this. Little Zahar, man, won't be quiet, but check it out, yo. Playing spades, reminiscing on days before niggas started shooting, we would still catch fades. It's like the world's a lot scarier since crack and AIDS. And the only thing that we became is rats in a maze. Cause all my brother cares about is trapping in J's. Mine's fucked up from the pills and the haze. Pop said we hard-headed, stuck in our ways. So I've been praying to the most high that it's just a phase, yo. Partly surprised and always amazed, especially at what's been getting radio plays, yo. I wanna be the cataclysm of a cataclysm, bomb atomically and take it back to lyricism. But you know nowadays, it seems like it's forbidden. Anybody in the industry knows they ain't fucking with them. And anyone on sign, they wanna be outshined. So I guess it's just me, myself, and all these empty lines. I never knew that being nice would get you penalized. Once you blowing up, they wanna know your penis size. Hoes all staring, saying you got dreamy eyes. And if you ain't fake, they wanna see you demonized. If they be dropping gems, then this flow is El Dorado. A midnight marauder, young desperado with a bravado. That's a hard act to follow. Make your favorite rapper look like amateurs at the Apollo. Yo, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Me and my vato steady painting pictures like Picasso. Feds trying to clock us like Pablo and Gustavo. Go and tell, straight to the Gestapo. Hola, muchacho, yo hablo español. El hombre blanco es el diablo. Now I'm going over heads like a poncho. Trying to stack chips with more cheese than some nachos. Why you acting macho? Your whole clique is gato. They ain't want beef, but I'll feel it like a taco. Yo, don't get it twisted like a rasta. Don't be bringing none of that bullshit into mi casa. You ain't seen this much crack since the Contras. Belly of the beast, we all live inside a monster. That's why I be thanking God I'm alive. Tapping into different vibes, penning more than a scribe. Every verse an open letter sent to all the tribes. Lost in the ghetto, steady struggling to survive. Yo, the things I seen with a pair of eyes got me out here living in this life desensitized. Part of the reason that I'm hardly if ever surprised. I've heard the screams of brothers and seen mothers that cried. Seen a soul leave a body right before he died. 23 years old, gunned down before his prime. While your favorite rapper only talking dollar signs. But when our people in trouble, they quiet as a mime. Every day is the struggle, I speak it through these lines. That's how I know they can't relate, I speak their daily lives. I'm representing for my nation, all the lost tribes. All my people that been locked up ain't see 25. Cause being born a minority was their first crime. They serve and protect, choking your neck, sever your spine. They murder one of us, no guilty verdict when they try. They wonder why they get no respect and we call them swine. Live in a time where you lose your life and become a vine. Friends turn to t-shirts, corners turn to shrines. And if our leader ain't a Pharisee, then he's a scribe. Cause he ain't coming out unless he thinks he can scrape a dime. Get his name in the paper, face in the lime. The world's black and white and you better pick a side. If I wasn't strong enough, then I would break inside. But I found the truth right before I lost my mind. Sorry, mama, I promised it wouldn't change me, but I would have went insane had I remained the same me. And I know you feel the same way if they slay me. So when I say the white man is the devil, don't blame me. I'm not here to make friends, kiss babies, shake hands for politics. Yo, what's affecting all the college kids? I mean, why did the students shoot up the colleges? Newborns found in shopping bags and garbages. All these problems that nobody acknowledges. Promise you one thing, you gonna acknowledge this. That.
Tell me when we're wrong. All right, clap it up. Hey, Shalom, Israel. Nosotros somos la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal. Comenzamos de 1 Oeste, calle 125, en Harlem, Nueva York, abajo del comandante general Yohana. Shalom, Israel. We are the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West, 125th Street in Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been speaking and spreading the truth of the Bible to you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, informing you that you are the true Israelites spoken about in the Holy Bible. And tonight is Isupk San Antonio's history class, right? And tonight we're going to go into the history of Gad. The tribe of Gad is one of the 12 sons of Israel. And specifically, who is the tribe of Gad nowadays, right? Like you, if you talk to the so-called Jewish person, they will either say they're Levi, Levitts, or Judah, right? They don't even talk about the northern kingdom or the Salaki. Go ahead.
They want to say
Levi, right? Levi, that's right. Levi or Levitts or however the bastardized Hebrew that they speak, the what is it called? That form of tongue that they speak is that dog tongue that they speak. It escapes my mind. Go ahead, sis. Yiddish. That is Yiddish, because they don't speak Hebrew. They speak Yiddish, which means it's Hebrew mixed with a Slavic tongue. It's a Slavic language at its basis. You know what I mean? It's not Hebrew. They do not speak Hebrew. Um, that's why they say Levitz or Levi or what was that? How would you say it again? Levi, right? They 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 don't say uh they don't say Lawaya. Salakia. How do you say the tribe of Levi? No, but how do you say it in Hebrew? Loya. Loya. They don't say Ban Loya. They say Levi, right? They don't say Ban Loya. I don't know what Levi is. Levi's is a pair of jeans, right? But anyway, yeah, they do not even mention the Northern Kingdom, right? At all. They're either they're either Judah, which is the most prominent tribe in Israel, the most famous tribe, the tribe of Christ, right? They either say Judah and they say they have another bastardized form of that. They completely messed that up. But anyway, they do not mention the Northern Kingdom at all because they're not truly the people of the land. No, they're not. That's why they speak a Slavic tongue. They're from Russia. They're from Poland. They're from Germany. They're not from Israel. They didn't move into the land until after the Balfour Declaration in the 1940s. You know what I mean? They're not of the Middle East. They're not the people of the land. They're not the people of the book. They're not. That's not them. They're perpetrating a fraud. But tonight we're going to get into the tribe of Gad and who they truly are now. And the tribe of Gad, who they are now, are your so-called Native American Indians of North America, right? Those are your true Gadites from the Bible. And they say that the indigenous tribes got here through the Bering Strait. They can't prove that because the Bering Strait is just a theory. They never did prove it. It's just a theory. It's not actual factual. And a matter of fact, it's been debunked. It's been debunked time and time over again. It's just they are, how can I say, they're pushing an agenda when they teach the Bering Strait in the schools and in the how can I say the 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 what's that word I'm looking for? It's like that name escapes me, but they're pushing a propaganda when they teach the Bering Strait, and it's a complete falsehood. But right now we're going to go get into the characteristics of Gad, right, and who they are today, and how the characteristics from the Bible are spot on to your North American Indians or your Salakia, your so-called North American Indians, which are your indigenous people of North America, which are the First Nations people, as they're called in some senses, First Nations, Native Americans. Those are your true Gadites from the Bible. And we're going to get into the characters, but first we're going to get into Genesis 49 and 19, right? This is a prophecy of Gad, and you can see this spirit rising up within the the Native American communities. Um, it's known as land back, right? Where they're rising up, they're putting on their warrior spirit back on, right? They're putting on the Slacky. We good? Okay. They're putting back on their warrior spirit. They're putting back on their their culture, right? Even though their culture has been robbed from them, their culture has been hijacked by mainstream media. Their culture has been hijacked by the you know the $5 Indians. Uh, you know the governments of the Western Hemisphere. Their culture has been hijacked and it's been stolen and it's been taken away from them. And to get back to their culture, they have to really research their past and you know go into their elders and ask their elders, which is you know their culture is dying. It's a dying culture because it used to be just passed down orally, but then through you know the boarding schools, it was forced out of them. You know, the boarding schools would they would force the you know I forgot there's the saying that they used to say in the boarding schools, but it's like keep the man, lose the Indian. Where they would teach them how to be quote unquote civilized. They would give them uh like a you know a Christian name in the schools. They would no longer would they be known as you know standing deer or either perspective names that they got from their elders and of their respective tribes. You know, they would have to be like John Redcorn. You know what I mean? This is just this is a poor example, but you know they would have to be you know they would give them a name more suitable to quote unquote Christian America, and which is sad and but all this is it was prophesied because we as a people as blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians we disobeyed our God. So we're living out the curses of Deuteronomy 28, and it says that we would basically, you know, lose our culture, which we did. You know, we lost who we are. No longer do we remember our name. You know what I mean? No longer do we remember who we are, what tribe we come from. You know, we don't remember that. And we suffer the curses in Deuteronomy 28. We'll get into that later too. Um, but let's get into the scripture, Genesis 49 and 19.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
Right. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. Right. That's speaking about the North American Indians or the you know the so-called North American Indians. And how was America, you know, over how was America got from the quote unquote indigenous people? Go ahead.
Through war.
The war, right? The it was the through the Indian Wars, which started in 1776 and through 1890, right? The Indian Wars. That's how North America was you know robbed. It was robbed from the true inhabitants of the land. The true, how can I say the true Salakia, the true founders of 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 the Western Hemisphere through war, through you know unaliving and theft, robbery and deceit. That's how it was taken from them, but it was taken from them through the you know through the Calvary, which is a troop. You know what I mean, they had different bands that they would you know set across and go on these you know campaigns against the North American Indians. They would send troops out, you know, different bands of the cavalry, and they call them troop, like Troop A, Troop B. They were called troops. Well, it's talking about right here in the Bible. Read that again from the top.
Gad, a troop shall overcome him.
A troop shall overcome him, and that's exactly what happened. A troop overcame us. A troop overcame us. A troop overcame the North American Indians, and forced them into in the Trail of Tears, where they forced them into different reservations. A troop overcame them. Go ahead.
But he shall overcome at the last.
And at the last, he shall overcome at the last. And right here, you're right now to this day, there's a movement amongst the North American Indians. It's called land back, right? It's called land back. You'll see them spray painted, along along the dirt roads of their reservation. You'll see it, spray painted on the billboards. You'll see them spray painted on the Mount Rushmore every now and then. You know what I mean? They're getting their true warrior spirit back, and then you'll see different demonstrations happening in Washington, and throughout all of North America. You'll see the Gadites actually rising up, and you'll see them, riding a horseback and putting on their war paint. You see that warrior spirit coming back to Gad. But you see the spirit coming back to he shall overcome. Go ahead.
Verse 20.
No. Read that again.
Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last.
Right, he shall overcome at the last, and that's where we're at now. We're at the last days right now, with Iran and the occupied state of Israel going to, as I say occupied because they're not the true inhabitants of the land. They're just occupying that land for now. You know what I mean? You'll see them going at it. You seen the news where the bombs were dropping. You even seen hypersonic missiles come out. They came out of nowhere. I mean, it's truly a magnificent sight. You know what I mean? It's a magnificent sight, especially if you know the truth. You know the prophecies, and if you watched Commanding General Yohana's breakdown of what's going down when General Muhammad was having his class, and General Muhammad, Commanding General Yohana came on at the last of it. I mean, I just rewatched that today. I mean, it's how can I say, it's rejuvenating. It puts how can I say, for lack of better terms, it puts oil back into your lamp. It fills your lamp back up. You know what I mean? It puts more fire in your zeal, knowing that this is where this school, the ISUPK, this is where our people need to be. And classes like this is much needed for our brothers that are still asleep, to let them know who they actually are. We did not come came over here. We did not come over here in the Bering Strait. You know what I mean? We did not come over here in the Bering Strait. We came over here not on a land bridge, a so-called ice bridge, right? We did not come over like that. That silly foolishness. We did not come over here like that. And we're going to get into the more characteristics of Gad. You know what I mean? Let's go into Salakia. Can you pull up that picture real quick? Yeah, pull up that picture real quick, Salakia. All right. So let me see if it's online. Salakia. See if I can see it. Yeah. See what we're looking at. See right here. You see these brothers right here, right? And their regalia, right? They're getting ready to show out at a powwow, right? Well, these these garments that they're wearing, these are actually biblical garments. This is biblical. Like the fringes that they're wearing, you know what I mean? The the headdresses, all that's biblical. And we're gonna get into it. Let's get into let's go to Numbers chapter 15 and let's start at 38. Oh, Slacky. You got it? You got a microphone?
15 and 38.
Con. Numbers chapter 15, start at verse 38.
Okay. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel.
Right.
And-
Speak unto the children of Israel. And Gad is a child, is a son of Israel, right? We're speaking about the tribe of Gad. Go ahead.
Okay. And bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
Right. Make them fringes. You look at this picture. This brother's got fringes, on the borders of all the borders of his garment. You know what I mean? This is a glorious garment that he's wearing. Right? This is where they get this from. You ever wonder why the North American Indians in all the indigenous tribes of the Americas, right? They all wore fringes from the tribes from Canada all the way down to Peru, right? The sarapes that the Incas would wear, they had fringes on them. The Aztecs were fringes, along with your Mayans and all your tribes, all your indigenous tribes of here in the so-called Americas, right? They all wore fringes. But who's more prominent? Like when you think of fringes, who do you really think of? And it's not John Wayne, right? You think of the North American Indians. That's who you think of. And this is where they got it from. Go ahead. Start from the top.
Verse 38. And speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations.
Right, throughout their generations. And they're keeping that tradition strong. You know what I mean? They're keeping that tradition strong. Man, we need to go out to the powwows. Because you can see that all through the powwows, even when they're having their like a formal ceremony, they call them ribbon shirts, right? And they got these nice button down shirts. You know what I mean? Sometimes they're like what's that word? Paisley shirts. They're really nice shirts, and then they got ribbons on them on the borders. They got ribbons on them, different colored ribbons, and a lot of time you'll see a ribbon of blue on it. A lot like on all these garments, you'll see a ribbon of blue. Well, that's significant to this scripture right here. Start from the top.
Okay. Verse 38. Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments.
Right. You see, like on this picture shown right now online, you'll see fringes, right? You see they fringed out. Go ahead.
Throughout their of their garments throughout their generations.
Right. This is a ancient practice. This is an ancient practice. Their forefathers did this, and they're doing it now because the Lord commanded us to. Go ahead.
And that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue.
Right, and you can see that even with their ribbon they're called ribbon shirts. A lot of times you'll see a ribbon of blue along the border of it. You know what I mean? They're not too fringed out, but they'll have the ribbon, and the ribbon will be hanging as a fringe. You know what I mean? They're called ribbon shirts, and they're really nice. They're really nice. I seen one of the brothers in uh I believe I forgot the brother's name, Salakia, but he's from California. One of the Gadai brothers wearing it. Koryash, I seen Officer Koryash wear one time. They're really nice. They're called ribbon shirts, and they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Believe me, I tried to buy one, and it was it was going to be over $100. But there's some really nice shirts. But go ahead.
Okay. Verse 39. It shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord.
Right. And that's why we have the fringes. They're like, you'll see, all of us in the UPK, we wear fringes on the borders of our garments. I mean, we don't wear baby doll tassels on the bottom of a t-shirt. That's not what this is saying. It's saying on the borders of your garments. So when the fabric meets another fabric, that creates a border, right? A lot of times you'll see us wearing fringes on the borders of our pants. That's a garment. That's an outer garment. It's not a t-shirt. A t-shirt, the t-shirts we wear, a lot of times we wear t-shirts under our vest or under our garment that we put over. T-shirt is an undergarment. You know what I mean? It's not an overgarment. It's just at the borders of your garment was what this said. Go ahead.
Okay. And remember all the commandments of the Lord.
Right. And that's why we wear the fringes. That's why we wear fringes. So we can, a lot of times you walk and you feel your fringes swing. You feel them swing like, oh, okay. I can't be regular. I don't look regular. I can't be regular. You know what I mean? I can't be regular because I'm not regular. And then we have, laws, statutes, and commandments that we have to abide by. And that's why we wear the fringes. So, it's like how can I say, for lack of better terms, like, people say that to tie a string around your finger when you're trying to remember something. Well, we wear fringes. You know what I mean? We wear fringes. We ain't regular. We ain't regular. We gonna stand out. We stand out because Israel, we flashy. So we gonna stand out. You know what I mean? We ain't regular. All right, let's go ahead and drop that. So that's one of the characteristics of the Israelites, and that's real prominent amongst Gad. You know what I mean? Which are your North American Indians. That's a characteristic that really pops out at you. Like, okay, well, why they always fringed out? Because they're an Israelite. That's why.
So, okay, sir.
Go ahead.
Other nations in the Bible, like the Moabites and Edomites and Ishmael, they didn't get this order.
No, they didn't. They didn't get this order. That's why we, North American Indians, they still keep this. It's real prominent. And now you'll see it's become like mainstream now, where so-called Western wear, you'll see fringes on like Western wear. But what is Western wear? Western wear is just Israelite wear. That's all it is. That's Israelite culture. You know what I mean? We're the salt of the earth. So anything that we do is just gonna trend. It's gonna cause a trend. So let me get with you on the scripture real quick. Can you pull up First Chronicles 12:8?
Okay.
Here's another characteristic of the North American Indians, which are your Gadites in the Bible, right? Like a lot of times, whenever you can see, or it's like not when you can see, whenever you watch a Western movie, and a lot of times they'll be battling uh, North American Indians, and there's a certain way that the Indians would fight, right? There's a certain way that they come across. They're real fierce. Well, that's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Um, the way they fought, the way they you know carried themselves is real how can I say, not prominent. What's the word I'm looking for?
Warlike.
Yeah, it's a warlike spirit because like tribe of Gad, they were real fierce warriors, real cunning and skilled warriors, just like your so-called Comanches. Comanches, like they're real skilled with the horseback. They're real skilled with the bow and arrow. So are your well, all the North American Indian tribes are real skilled with the bow and arrow. Know what I mean? Because that's the buckler. That's what it is. And we're about to read it. Go ahead.
Khan. There's the book of First Chronicles, chapter 12, verse 8. And of the Gadites, they separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness, men of might.
Right. They separated themselves unto David. They're a real warrior tribe, and they were how can I say you know faithful to David. Go ahead.
Khan. And men of war.
Men of what?
War.
Men of war. Men of war. They put on the war paint. They how can I say, have a battle cry. You know what I mean? That whenever you think of somebody like, even they take that culture into, or that practice into the modern military tactics of today. Uh, Whenever you think of a warrior, you think of whenever you think of a soldier, what's he wearing? Camouflage, right?
Okay.
That's a North American Indian tactic. That's a tactic from the North American Indian. They would camouflage themselves with the surrounding area, so they can hunt for their prey, or hunt for their food, right? Or hunt for their enemy. Like guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare came from the Israelites. We started that. The North American Indians were experts at guerrilla warfare. That's why they gave the cavalry hell. They gave the cavalry hell. Cavalry had guns and 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 they came out with the Gatling gun, the first repeated gun, just to fight the North American Indians, because they're just so skilled, because they could never see them coming. They come up, and by the time you know it, they were in your face, ready to quote unquote scalp you. They're just a fierce warriors. Go ahead.
Khan. And men of war fit for the battle.
Men of war fit for the battle. I mean, they were ready for all that smoke. Go ahead.
That could handle shield and buckler.
Shield and buckler. When you see a North American Indian, he's got the shield and he's got the bow and arrow, right? Well, that's what it is. The shield and buckler. They were skilled with that. Go ahead.
Whose faces were like the faces of lions.
Right. Like war paint. And even when they're not wearing a war paint, you seen a North American Indian just chilling, He's just chilling. You think he's like, man, what's up with this brother? I'm like, is he about to scalp somebody? Is he? You know what I mean? A lot of people think that they're real hostile people, but you could never meet a more humble and humorous people. Man, they would have you like I've had this one Navajo friend where I grew up. Man, he'd have you rolling all day. He'd have you rolling all day. You couldn't meet a more humorous people, so down to earth people, more. You couldn't meet a more gentle people. You know what I mean? But do not get him mad. Ooh, you do not want to get him mad. You be ready to throw hands and be ready to get hurt because he wasn't scared to hurt you and he wasn't scared to get hurt. You know what I mean? He was ready for all that. He was ready for all that. But like he just be chilling and he just had that warrior look. You know what I mean? That's just like, and that's where read that again.
Khan Khan. Verse 8.
No, from whose faces were like
Khan Khan. Um, whose faces?
right after shield and buckler.
Kind of got it. That could handle a shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions.
Whose faces were like faces of lions. And that's your Gadites, your North American Indians. I mean, they're just a fierce looking people. Warrior, they're warriors. Go ahead.
And were as swift as the rose upon the mountains.
And we're as swift as the rose upon mountains, right? I'm going to go back to story time, right? Story time. When I was in school, I grew up with a family of Gadites, and I got Gadites in my family too, but I just remember this one particular brother, man, that I grew up with, that he ran cross country, and everybody, in cross country, they would say, you know, endurance is key. To start out not real slow, but start at a fair pace. No, this brother took off faster than anybody, maintained that whole speed through the whole way. Like he would run like a 2 mile race, right? He run that full speed. And people are like, how are you doing that? And he finished that race, and he would barely even be sweating. But that's just in their spirit. Go ahead, start it again.
Khan Khan. Verse 8.
No, from they were swift as the
And were as swift as the rose upon the mountains.
right swift upon what rows are. They're like almost like gazelles, like deer. You know what I mean? That's what rows are. Swift, like you see a deer running, and they just look like effortlessly, right? Well, that's how the Gadites are. That's how your North American Indians are. They just run, and this brother, when I was in school, man, it was a Navajo brother, and he would run, and it just looked like he was just gliding in midair, and he was booking it, and it just like a deer. You know what I mean? And it's just that's their spirit. As that's the tribe of Gad. That's just how they run. It's like you. Somebody on got the mic. No sweat. Anyway, yeah, it's First Chronicles 12:8. But let's start let's start from the top again.
This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 12, verse 8. And of the Gadites, there are separated themselves unto David, and to the whole, to the wilderness, men of might, and men of war fit for the battle.
Right. Men of war fit for the battle. You know, the Gadites. And whenever you watch, so-called Western movies, right? They always show the Gadites as like real savage, right? Real savage and like men ready for that smoke. Well, that's not entirely untrue. You know what I mean? They're they're very fierce warriors, very fierce warriors. So that reputation precedes them. But them being like, how can I say, real that Hollywood always likes to kind of, for lack of better terms, shit on our people, right? So they show them really real primitive. You know what I mean? That is a lie. That is a lie. That's just a whitewashed how can I say whitewashed overlaying of the culture of our people. Because you know, they know the history. Like I'm about to get into later on, you know, it's in their books. They wrote books on when they encountered our people, when they came over here. They watched us. They watched our habits, and they knew that we we are the from the lost tribes of Israel. They know that. They watched our habits. They know the history. That's why when Christopher Columbus came over here, he brought Hebrew interpreters because he read the book of Second Ezra's. He knew who was over here. He knew who was over here. You know what I mean? He knew who was over here, and he knew when he came over here, he knew that he was going to find, you know, riches of the land, the land real plentiful because they know that we're the salt of the earth, and how can I say they came over here with an agenda, to take it for themselves. But anyway, go ahead with the scripture.
Khan, verse 8. And of the Gadites, there separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness men of might and men of war, fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler.
That could handle shield and buckler. The the North American Indians are real skilled with that bow and arrow. Very skilled with it. Very skilled with it. Go ahead.
Whose faces were like the faces of lions.
Right. And even that's speaking about how their demeanor was, right? But even with their war paint, you see, with their war paint, you look at them like they're real fierce looking, just like a lion would be, right? Like just one of the pictures that we were shown earlier. My brother had on war paint. And he looked so fierce, you know what I mean? Like a lion. Go ahead.
Khan. And were as swift as the rose upon the mountains.
Right, swift as a rose upon the mountains, and they're they're real skilled at running. That's their spirit. They're real skilled at running. That's why, like the brother I grew up with, he was really skilled at cross country. He was really skilled at it. Like he went to college for it. Like he went to college for running, for cross country. Like he was really skilled. Um, the only other tribe that's probably close to Gad at running is probably Issachar. That's the only. Well, no, I mean running long distances like that, because there's a tribe in South Mexico that they run for miles, just with huaraches, which with this like sandals, right? And they run through like cactuses and stones and like very harsh terrain. But that's just the spirit of Israel. Like we're just really fierce warriors, but especially the tribe of Gad. Uh, You can go ahead and drop that. Let's get into Salakia. I'm gonna reference a book that one of our captains wrote about. It's called A Tribe Called Gad by Captain Katazar. Captain Katazar wrote this book, and it's very informative. Um, I'm gonna reference this book real quick. I'm not gonna really read it too much because I really suggest that you go buy this book and really read it for yourself because this book is very informative. I'm just touching bases of of what this book really goes into. I'm just giving a brief synopsis of it. You know what I mean? But this book is really detailed. I mean, Most High in Christ for Captain Katasai really getting into the meat of this right here. But Salakia, uh, there's another scripture here right here that describes the tribe of Gad. And let's go into Deuteronomy 33 and 20. And well, I'm going to read a bit of it though, but let's go ahead and get into the scripture.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 20. And of Gad, he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm
Right.
with the crown.
He dwelleth as a lion. Remember, it said it in the other verse, Salakia. Verse where First Chronicles 12, verse 8. It said, whose faces were like faces of lions. Like, a lion is a fierce animal, right? Well, then again, it references Gad, and a lion. Same right here in Deuteronomy 33:20, right? It's just like a characteristic of Gad and how his warrior spirit. Go ahead. Start from the top.
Come. Verse 20. And of Gad, he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad.
Right. Sidebar. Gad had all the land of what is now known as Canada, all the way to like northern Mexico. That's a lot of land. You know what I mean? Just think about how the Edomites treated Gad. They put him in corners of the land that they once had. A very large, vast land. They're in corners. And it said right here, what? Blessed be he that enlarges Gad. So what's the opposite of blessed?
Cursed.
Cursed. And did they enlarge Gad when they came over here? No, they did not. So anyway, that's just a side note. But go ahead.
Okay. He dwelleth as a lion.
Right, he dwelleth as a lion.
And teareth the arm with the crown of the head.
Right, and he teareth the arm. When you watch, these depictions, the Western movies, they depict Gad, and what are they doing? What are they doing? They're so scared. They're so scared of the engines, right? What are they doing? When they actually find and they actually find their enemy and they attack them. What do?
Sorry, sir.
Go ahead.
They scalp them.
They scalp them. You know what I mean? They scalp them. Hold that. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read a section of this book real quick. Let me try to find it real quick. So like, bear with me. where it talks about how the scalp. So like you, I'm trying to find it. Okay, it's on page 11, right? On A Tribe Called Gad by Captain Kataza. How scalping was done. Scalping was typically performed on a fallen enemy, though some skilled warriors would scalp a person alive. The warrior would grasp a handful of hair on the crown of the head using a sharp knife. A circular or oval shaped cut was made through the scalp. Was made around the scalp. The warrior would then pull and rip the scalp free, sometimes using a quick jerk of the wrist, cutting away any remaining tissue. Go ahead and read that scripture again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verse 20. And of Gad, he said, Blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head.
He teareth the arm. So he grabs it, does a circular cut, and the arm, right? He does a little twist with the crown. What's the crown of your head? Your scalp. That's that's a depiction of not slakia, for lack of better terms. That's a description of Gad right here in the Bible. And whenever you think of somebody scalping somebody, you think of a North American Indian, right? That's it. It talks about it right there in the Bible. That's it. That's it. Even though Salakia, uh, that how can I say, that tactic was a learned tactic. You know what I mean? That was a learned tactic. Like that's Salakia. I'm gonna read another quote from the book right here. You, I suggest you buy this book. Like any of you listening to this class right now, I suggest you go out and get this book right here. It's called A Tribe Called Gad by Captain Kataza. I mean, contact Captain Kataza, and he'll hook you up, man. Like, we bought this book for the school at Passover. I mean, this is a very informative book on the tribe of Gad, and I'm gonna get into why scalping was practiced right on page 11. Scalping was primary practice in warfare to earn honor. Taking an enemy scalp was a sign of a warrior's prowess and could bring prestige within a tribe. Salakia. European influence was also a major factor in why scalping was prevalent. European colonial powers, including the British and French, sometimes paid bounties for enemy scalps. Uh, what's this word? In synthesizing the practice among both Native Americans and settlers. So this was a learned practice, right? So they did it to us, so we did it to them. You know what I mean? But we just did it better. We just did it better. So whenever whenever you would think of somebody getting scalped, you would think, oh, there's a Native American Indian, right? Did it. But this is actually a learned practice that we did. And we just it became a practice of how it said earlier of what it was, a warrior's prowess. You know what I mean? Almost like a bragging right. Go ahead.
That's how you know it was us because they was following the law. I for I, two for two.
Right. Eye for an eye, two for two. Right. It's they it's it was a learned practice. You know what I mean? they they did it to us, and it was real. They're the savages. You know what I mean? They're the savages. They're the ones that actually, you know, commit atrocities throughout the whole world. They commit unaliving throughout the whole world. I'm gonna read another section of the book right here. This is the last paragraph at chapter. I mean, on page 10. It says scalping was also vividly described as an attribute of the tribe of Gad. Scalping was a practice in which a strip of skin with hair attached was removed from the enemy's head, often as a war trophy. Page 11. While commonly associated with Native American tribes, the practice existed in various cultures throughout history, including among ancient Scythians, Celts, and even European settlers in North America. I mean, it was, a learned practice, but I mean, it talks about how we would do that in the scriptures, which is it's very, how can I say, um prophetic. I mean, it lets you know who the tribe of Gad is, and how they would be, living in the last days, and how, their characteristics, and how they were overtaken by a troop. You know what I mean? But now that warrior spirit is coming back, that they try to take our warrior spirit from us. They try to take it, and in a lot of times they did. You know what I mean? How can I say, um, through the a lot of times they did through the boarding schools, and the indoctrination of the Catholic dogma of how, you know uh forcing us to bow down to a false image of Christ, actually completely wiping us of any uh form of self dignity. You know what I mean? To where we would you know uphold a European, um a, uphold European features over our own. It's like, a lot of times, I know this is real bad in, so-called Latino community. Is, oh no, you can't let your children out during the summertime too much, because se parecen mucho indios. They're like, they would look more Indian out in the sun. Don't let them out in the sun too long. That that's it's a curse on us. You know what I mean? It's a curse put on us, because us so-called Hispanics, we're indigenous also. You know what I mean? We're indigenous also, just like how you know our our Gadite brothers are indigenous to this land, because we're the true founders of the Western Hemisphere. The the how can I say, the falsehood that they try to spread about the Bering Strait and how we came over here, that's false. That's why it's called the Bering Strait theory. They could never prove it, and we're going to get into how we came in here. Well, how we came over here. Let's get into it. Second Ezra chapter 13, verse 40.
This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 14, verse 40. And I took it and drank.
No, Second Ezra chapter 13.
This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 13, verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes.
Right. Those are the 10 tribes. Those are the northern kingdom tribes, right? Mixed with tribe of Levi. Because Levi didn't have an allotment of land. Levi stayed with every tribe. That's why there's 10. Go ahead.
Come, which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king,
Right. And this was around 722 BC, right? This is around 722 BC is when this happened. Go ahead.
whom Salmanassar the king of Assyria led away captive,
Right.
and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
Right. We went into the Syrian captivity. We were taking there was a split in Israel. And the tribes that stayed in the northern part, they were taken into captivity into Assyria. We didn't have all the tribes to help us, go and fight against the Assyrians. So we fell into captivity. Mainly because we turned away from the commandments. And this is punishment on us. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Right. And they would go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. And that's here in the Americas. That's when we as a nation escaped the Assyrians and came over here. We didn't come over here through a so-called ice bridge. No. This is how we came. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 43. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 44. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood, so they were passed over.
Right. They hold still the flood, so we passed over. So we came in through the Euphrates, went through the narrow passages, right, of the river, until we were in what is that, the Atlantic Ocean?
Come.
I think that's the Atlantic, right? Not the Pacific, but the Atlantic.
Come.
Everything all right? All right. But so we came to the Atlantic, and right there on that passage that we through the Euphrates, that where the Atlantic meets right there, it's real treacherous. The waters are real treacherous. So go ahead and where it says the Lord held still the flood.
Come. For the Most High then showed signs
No,
for
oh yeah, go ahead.
Come. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood.
Right, he showed signs for us on where to go. The Most High showed signs for us where to go. You know what I mean? And he's held still the flood. So where it was real treacherous, it was calm. Go ahead.
Till they were passed over.
Right. And that's how we got over here. Go ahead.
Okay, verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
So that was a year and a half voyage. You know what I mean? From the other side of the earth where the Euphrates, right? The Euphrates is in the Middle East, right? In the Middle East, all the way to a new land where never mankind dwelt. It took them a year and a half to get to there, right? A year and a half. Did it say anything about crossing an ice bridge? No. Yeah, that's malarkey. You know what I mean? That's BS. That Bering Strait, that's BS. Go ahead.
Come. Verse 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
Right, it's a year. That's a long voyage. That's a long voyage. Go ahead.
And the same region is called Arsreth.
Arsrith, and I'm gonna show you. It's like I got it right here in my in my preset book. I got the notes right here about Arsrith and the Jewish Encyclopedia about Arsrith. They let you know that they know who we are. So like it's in my notes right here. I gotta find them real quick. So like I put them up. There they are right here. Arsrith, right? Arsrith. This is in you know the Jewish Encyclopedia. Arsrith, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration, according to what is that? Salakia, Roman numerals IV, Ezra's 13, 10, 45. Well, that's actually Second Ezra's, right? Second Ezra's chapter 13, verse 45. Columbus, right? This is in the Jewish Encyclopedia, right? Columbus identified America with this land. They know who we are. They know who we are, right? And I'm gonna get into something else real quick, but finish that.
Okay. Verse 46. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, verse 47.
Right. And dwelt then to the latter time. And that's now. The latter time is now. That's now. So, we did not come through a land bridge, an ice bridge, like they would try to teach our youth in the the educational system, where they just feed our people with lies. The truth is right here, because that's just a theory. They can never prove it. Let God be true and every man a liar. You know what I mean? Lord, this is how the Lord said we got here. Go ahead.
Come. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, verse 47.
Right. Hold on. And then when they shall begin to come. Remember when that we saw that all that influx of the so-called caravans and the how can I say the influx of all the quote unquote illegal immigrants coming into America. That was prophecy being fulfilled right before your eyes. The Lord is gathering all his people into the land of the north. That was that happening right there. All the indigenous tribes coming together with the tribe of Judah. Tribe of Judah is probably in the North America, but tribe of Judah is also, in Cuba and and Dominican Republic and Haiti and all that. Tribe of Judah is spread everywhere too. We're spread out through the four corners, but mostly in the Western Hemisphere. And the Lord was bringing us all back together, just like how it depicts right here. Go ahead.
Verse 47. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace.
Right. So read that again. I couldn't hear you.
Okay, verse 47. The highest shall stay the springs of the stream again.
Right. And we're going to go back. We're going to go back. He's going to have the whole Israel as a whole. We're gathering together and we're going back. This is a prophecy. I mean, and this is happening right now. This is happening right now. We're all gathering together. All the protests happening in California, you know what I mean? Because they want to split us apart again. It's not going to happen. The Lord will destroy this place before that happens. It's not going to happen. Our brothers are here from South America to Central America, North America. We're all together now. This is the time of restoration. It's time to get into your local ISUPK near you and find out who you are according to the Bible. Because now is the time. Because now our salvation is closer than we realize. I butchered that scripture. I misquoted that scripture, but nearer than we believe, right? Now is our salvation nearer than we believe. It's time to get 10 toes down in this truth. It's time to get serious. Because man, it's World War III is at our doorstep. I mean, it could happen any day now. But Salakia, go ahead and drop that. I want to get into, because I got this shirt on, right? This shirt right here is Shemai Yashua Allah Yahweh Allah Yahweh Echad. I wore this shirt especially for this class tonight because I'm gonna reference a book. It's called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands: The Origins of American Racism. They know who we are, and they hide it from us, and they put it in books because they know that we don't like to read. I mean, it's detriment to our downfall. But I suggest y'all read this book too. I suggest y'all go to your local library and check this book out. But on page 364, right? Let's go down. I'm gonna read a little bit of this book right here. I'm gonna start actually at 360. No, at 363, right? Upon his return to Cartagena, the Judaizing Montesinos had found himself accused of the Inquisition and put in prison. Praying for salvation in his cell one day, he was reciting what was by then a standard formula among New World Marranos. Marrano is like a crypto Jew. That's what they called the Jewish people that stayed in Spain. I forgot what they call it. I forgot the name that they had. They had them like the Catholics had them kicked out of Spain, and they came into the New World. But anyway, blessed. I'm gonna read on. Blessed be the name of the Lord, who has not made me an idolater, a barbarian, a Negro, an Indian. Right. That is real racist, right? That is real racist. When suddenly he stopped, those Indians, he told themselves, they are Hebrews, right? This what was his name again? Montesinos, right? He realized something. He realized that the Indians are Hebrews, right? He realized that. I mean, if you read further in the book, he realized that because he saw their practices and he saw their customs and stuff like that. So he put two and two together, like, oh, these are Hebrews. But I'm gonna read something real interesting. I'm gonna go down into what is this? The fourth paragraph. Um, waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other bank of the river. In response to his signal, the two men waited. Eventually, a canoe appeared bearing three men and a woman, all of them Indians, to the place where Francisco and Montesinos were standing at the water's edge. The woman got off and spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montesinos could not understand, although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation. She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montesinos, and to his utter astonishment said, now this is in the Yiddish. I don't know why they wrote it in the Yiddish, but Shema Israel Adonai Alachunu Adonai Echad, which is Shema Yashua Allah Yahweh Alahai Salakim. Shema Yashua Allah Yahweh Alahayanawa Yahweh Echad, which means, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. They said this, but they did not speak it in the Yiddish. I guarantee you, they did not speak it in the Yiddish. You know what I mean? They said, Shema Yashua Allah, Yahweh Allah Yanawa Yahweh Echad. That's credo. That's Salakia. That's a verse in the Bible that they know who we are. They know who we are. You could read this in the book of Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Saunders. Right, I'm just going to reference it, but I suggest you read this book along with go out and purchase this one, a tribe called Gad by Captain Katazar. This book is really informative on the tribe of Gad. I'm just touching bases on it, but this book really goes in depth. I suggest everybody go out and contact Captain Katazar through his messenger. Hit him up on Twitter, whatever, what have you. Know what I mean? And purchase this book. He might even give you a deal on it. He's such a brother. He might even give you a deal on it. But with that, I pass the class over to Trooper Sawadia.
We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3 and 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'asharah, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to Treasury Department or teacher, priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations, memorial of blowing of trumpets, first day of the 7th month, September 21st, Sunday, Leviticus 23 and 24 through 25. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. And these are the ISUPK security announcements.
And with that, Amajum, which means to stand. Wapan Hakwada. which means turn to face the east. It's like a Wapan Hakwadam. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malatvaka, Taba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Latan Lanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak Lanawa, Kapu Salakia, Kapu Wat Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kapu Wat Yanawa, Wala, Taba'a Nawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Wahala, Wahataparath, La'awalumyum, Aman. What we said in English was, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. Sar, sisters, you can sit down. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Amaj Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Latah Bashim Salakia, Yahweh Bashim Yawashap Rakatah, Yajamata, Sar, face the sisters. Sisters, you can stand. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. It's like that was a tongue twister. Men of Israel, Amaj Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shemar Latah Bashim Yawashai. Yahweh, Shamar, Alatha, Bashim, Yahushai. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yadim Matah. Class dismissed.